entrepreneurs. Welcome to another episode of Entrepreneur Fundamentals. My name is Robert Bitto. Today I want to talk a little bit about sourcing, specifically going to trade shows. Now, a lot of people first starting out in their businesses, they have no idea how to source merchandise. And a great way to source merchandise and do a couple of other things is to go to trade shows geared towards your industry. So for me, I started my business importing things from Latin American countries just by going down to the countries and getting the merchandise myself, going to the little villages and so on, and going to the remote places to get some unique merchandise. And then someone suggested, why don't you go to the Oasis gift show in Phoenix? And I was living in Phoenix at the time. My business had already been established for about 3 or 4 years. And I said, what the heck? It's going to only be a couple hours or whatever out of my day. So I went, and I was amazed, actually, because there were people there selling merchandise, wholesaling merchandise that I would carry in my store and later in my online business. So what exactly is a trade show? It's when a group of people get together who are wholesaling different lines of products. And in my case, I went to a gift show. So what I was doing was going to a place that catered mostly to tourist shops or gift shops, souvenir shops, etc. And it was pretty big. There were a lot of different suppliers carrying a lot of different things, and they were doing that twice a year at the time. And I made some really good contacts. In fact, one of the contacts I made in the year 2004 when I went there is of the owners of a business. I made contact with the owners of a business that I would eventually buy in the year 2020. So what they were doing is they were wholesaling arts and crafts from Mexico mostly, and I would buy from them in a quick and easy, I guess lazy way, right? I didn't have to go down into Mexico to get stuff because they were importing things. The margins were a little bit smaller because I had to buy from them instead of directly from the manufacturer, but it became easy for me to just call them up and say, hey, can you send me a dozen of these, a dozen of that? And they would say, okay, and they would do it. And in one of the trade shows, I saw them in Los Angeles. That was a few years later. They took me out to dinner because I had been buying from them a lot. So when it was time for them to close up shop during 2020 and the mayhem of that year, they came to me and asked me if I wanted to buy some of their stuff. And I said, I'll take all of your stuff. And I bought the rights to some of the manufacturers that they have down in Mexico also. But that was one good thing that came out of the trade show. I made contact with friendly competitors, let's say, suppliers who are in the same sort of business as I am. And I hadn't gone to a trade show in a long, long time. I don't know how long it was, maybe 12 to 15 years. I hadn't been on a buying trip for a couple of years. The last buying trip I went on was February of 2020, right before everything went down. And so in February of 2022, February of this year, I went to a show in Las Vegas. And there again, I found people importing things that I was importing, or similar items that I could carry in my product lines. I made some really good contacts. And not only that, these trade shows are really good for your soul. Coming out of all the junk that we've been going through in the past couple of years, it was nice to go to the Las Vegas Convention Center and see that it was packed with people from all over the country who were bettering their business, making more contacts, doing a lot of transactions, and writing a lot of orders. And it was good to see, because if you think we're in a junky economy, you couldn't tell it by that convention center. And I dropped quite a bit of money there too. And I got some great stuff that I carry now in with the merchandise that I import myself. So if you're just starting out and you're doing something retail, you've got to go to the trade shows. And it's really simple. All you have to do is basically have a business license. And then you present your credentials, usually online. They have registration at the door. They try to tell you, usually at these shows, that the tickets cost something at the door, but if you register beforehand, then you don't have to pay, whatever. You go in there, you get your badge, and then you walk up and down the aisles, and you meet new people. And like I said, it's invigorating. And you also can get ideas for new things that you want to do. I thought, when I was there, I thought, wow, if my import business goes belly up, yeah, right, after 23 years, sure. If I decide to end my import business for whatever reason, and I decide to do something new, let's say start a convenience store near the beach here in San Diego, I could go to one of these trade shows, and it's one-stop shopping to fill a store, okay? At this trade show that I went to in Las Vegas, there were hundreds and hundreds of vendors, from hardware store suppliers to dollar store merchandise. You could open up your own dollar store by just hitting like 3 booths at one of these trade shows. So if you're looking to spice up your inventory, make new contacts, start something fresh, something new, a great way to do this is to go to a trade show. And if it's in another city, it's something that's fun. It's a getaway that's totally tax deductible. So that is something that I really advocate to the small business owner, especially a retailer who is looking for new merchandise or just to start a business. It's a perfect place to go. So that's about all I wanted to say on this topic. And I will sign off by saying my usual, may all your entrepreneurial dreams come true, and remember to always work hard.